Hello everyone, my name is Rosin, and welcome to Newtype Netplay, the series where I take a look at my old Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost ON match footage and talk about my experience playing this game and growing as a player over the many months of playing MBON. And actually, I was on a little bit of an MBON break for a bit there, but recently hopped back into it. I played until I felt the rust start to come off to a degree I was happy with. So that was fun. I'm still recording footage for the series, and I still need to be, talking over and editing and publishing these at a much faster rate because I am nearing episode 100 footage-wise, and we are only on episode 17 of me talking over these. So I gotta really get to it, but, it's kind of fun working through the backlog. It's just nice to have these on hand for when I want to crank one out, I know that the handful of you who watch these really enjoy them, so, as long as you're enjoying them, I'm enjoying them, and it's just a good time all around. So what I have here for you today is yet more footage from that open beta period. We are almost over that horizon and towards match footage from the actual full release of the game. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So what I am playing here is a suit that I believe I've touched on a little bit already in the series with a few matches here and there. Earlier on in the series I was kind of doing those grab bag type episodes where I just had footage of whatever mixed in that I felt like playing. And then I've kind of slowly progressed into these more like dedicated mobile suit episodes, like covering one suit each episode sort of deal. Just that's how I found myself having fun playing this game. So, right now we are playing the 00 Gundam, the titular Gundam from Mobile Suit Gundam 00, which is a series I have a soft spot for. I don't know if I've actually... I can't remember in this series how much I've talked about Gundam 00. It was actually the thing that got me back into Gundam when I was a little bit older, and I was kind of getting over my phase where I was like, oh, anime is for kids, I only like the cool adult psychological stuff like Neon Genesis Evangelion and Death Note. That really insecure phase that I feel like a lot of us go through when we were into like stuff when we were younger, and then try to distance ourselves from it in our teenage years, but... I actually caught a stray episode of Gundam 00 one random night on Sci-Fi's Annie Monday programming block. I don't know if any of you remember that. I didn't even know it was a thing when I saw it. I was just channel flipping, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize Sci-Fi aired anime. And then I just decided to sit down and watch an episode of Gundam 00 because I was like, oh, I used to really be into, like, Gundam and stuff. At that point, I had seen, like, G. I had tracked down Wing after I had seen G as a kid. I had watched Seed and Seed Destiny, and I was like, yeah, I used to remember liking this or whatever. And I had caught the episode where Setsuna activates Trans Am for the first time, and I thought it was just the coolest fucking thing. So I was like, wow, I should actually like track this down and watch this, and then I ended up watching Gundam 00 from there, and that kind of re-cemented me as a, not just a Gundam fan, but a mecha fan going into my adulthood, I would say. I don't even think I was old enough. I think it was technically like late teenage years or whatever, but I have a fond memory of Gundam 00 in that regard. But speaking of the 00 Gundam, this suit is a fun, all-around unit to play. Unfortunately, I checked the tier list, and it's actually pretty close to the bottom, The 3K suits, I think the lowest tier that they go down to is B, so it's like, it's fairly viable, I guess, if you want to play. Especially if you're playing online in the West, I don't think it's really going to matter all that much. I don't think anyone plays this game online, Western-wise, in like, public lobbies, at least. Where that sort of stuff really matters. If you join like the dedicated discords and stuff that people have, and shoutouts to those people if any of you are watching who are in the discords for this game and do those high level competitive lobbies. I'm in a couple of them, but I just lurk and try to learn from them. I'm too nervous to ever really participate. So if you ever see me floating around in there, that's the reason I don't really interact. But yeah, you can do really cool air combos like this, especially when you augment them with your burst and you activate Trans Am. Trans Am is just cool. I know it's just like Kaioken, but for mobile suits, but I like it a lot. And you also have the cool, like, quantize thing, where when you're in burst and you have Trans Am activated, and someone tries to hit you, if you're not doing anything, you just phase out, and it costs a little bit of your boost, if I recall, but, you know, you basically phase through their attack, which is super awesome. I love it. I love it so much. Very cool mechanic in this game. I just love how this game incorporates all the random Mobile Suit stuff from the different continuities and actually has them as well-balanced fighting game mechanics. It's so fucking cool. By far, I think MBON is just the best Gundam game I've ever played. I love this thing to death. But like I was saying, as I want to do, I went off on a silly little tangent because I got excited. This is an all-round unit that is unfortunately towards the bottom of the 3K tier list, but don't let that dissuade you from playing it if you really want to. It's still pretty fun. And the main gimmick that you're gonna have to keep in mind when playing as 00 is the fact that its base form, you're gonna want to play kind of more keep away, kind of in a mid-range defensive type style. You're gonna not want to go in as much. What you're really trying to do is you're waiting for your 00 riser form to fill up or be active, which I believe, if you notice the 100 counter in the bottom right, you actually start with it. You actually start with it full, and you can activate it whenever you want to go in for a push, which I probably should have here, going after the Sazabi. Silly me. But what you're really going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of stay mid-range and be evasive and a little evasive while in your base form, and then when you want to push for damage or really close in on them, you're going to want to activate your 00 riser form and start making those pushes. Both of your forms, thankfully, have really good, you have the Arios and Seravi assists, which are very, very nice. Both of them are great, and very good at just covering you, no matter what form you're in, just as like a nice little cover your ass thing to throw out there, as a lot of assists are in this game. But see, like right there, like look at that, beautiful, beautiful thing. Just homes in real quick, grabs them, immobilizes them, lets you follow through. Yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful little Arios assist there. And then, yeah, what you can also do from there is you can activate both your Trans Am Burst and your 00 Riser form at the same time, and you can really go in for some big, big damage. I would need to read up on this. I actually don't know if this is the case, but at least it feels this way. I often feel like it's not even worth using your burst attack when you're in burst mode with this suit, because what you really should be doing, I feel like, is just going for your melee combos, because they get extended in burst, and you're just flying across you're just flying across the screen like you saw me there. And it's just so hard to cut you out of your combos compared to your burst attack, which is very powerful but also kind of slow. And you can catch someone if they're being a little careless and rushing in on you. But I feel like it's actually just more practical to just actually just go for your melee combos with the burst. I really love the move that this thing has, where it throws out the two beam sabers, like you saw right there. You can cut it if you want to, or I guess cancel it if you want to, so that you only throw out one of the two. But also, unfortunately, since they are physical projectiles, any beam attack will eat them up, unfortunately. But they come out fast, and they have really good coverage. And you kind of, you can kind of see they go a little wide. I was kind of dodging to the side there, but if you do it when you're going forward or stationary, you kind of juke from left to right. Which, that was a very good burst attack on my part, honestly. Let's see if I can get a melee combo here. Ooh, we were schmoovin'. But I lost that encounter, unfortunately. Oh, well, I got the life lead. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, the 00 kind of jukes left and right when throwing out the beam sabers, so you get some decent horizontal coverage that you maybe don't expect just looking at it dead on. But that was a pretty clean round. Almost a 10k attack score. I'll take that. God, I really love the GN particle effects for, honestly, just aesthetically. I like Gundam 00 a lot. I feel like maybe hasn't aged the greatest. It kind of definitely has that, like, late 2000s anime vibe going for it, but I really like the designs of 00 a lot. And I really like the fact that they all glow and sparkle with fun little colors. I think it's a good time. Maybe a little silly and super robot-y for some people's taste, but I like it, and I think it works a lot for the series and what it's going for. Really big fan of Double O's designs overall. In fact, I would actually say that the Double O is probably my favorite design from the series. I like it a lot. I like it more than the Exia, which I know is a controversial opinion. I think part of the reason I like it, actually looking at the Double O Riser right now, is the fact that you can just staple so much goofy, spiky shit onto the Double O, and it just makes it look cooler. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Sunriser. Some people call it the X-Sunriser, but technically I believe it's pronounced the Sunriser. It's one of the variants of the Double O design that got a really popular Master Grade. That thing was blowing up and was real popular around the time I was getting into Gundam, and I've actually had that thing in the backlog forever, and I've always thought it looked so fucking cool, but I've never built it, and I really should get around to doing it. Though also, too, I guess I should say, speaking of Double O variants, if you do see a Double O player in this game, you're more likely to see someone playing the Double O variants, like the Seven Sword, or the, oh god, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Hold on, let me look at the list real quick. Yeah, the Seven Sword, or the, I guess it's just the Seven Sword. Yeah, then the other ones I'm thinking of are the Quant and the Quant Full Saver, so. Yeah, I was probably going in a little too gung-ho round start there. That was very silly of me. I should have activated the full riser, or not the full riser, the Double O riser if I was going to go for that, like I am here. In general, fighting a red frame in close quarters, you should tread carefully. They can really fuck up your day if you're not paying attention. But there we go. Caught him verniering, and was able to hit him with the assist along with my partner. Oh, perfect burst attack snipe there. See, I know I said earlier, like, maybe sometimes you should just go for the melee combos and burst, but if you have an opportunity to snipe them like that with your huge fuck-off laser beam, I say go for it. It deals big damage, and it can be very useful for hitting things at range. I believe the Double O is the suit where the super changes depending on what direction you're holding. I think if you have it in neutral, or if you're aiming it forward, it just does that, like, shot and then spread apart. But I believe what you can also do is you can have it swipe from left to right. I don't recommend those as much. I think they technically have better horizontal coverage, but your chance of hitting things is pretty low, because anyone paying attention and with the ability to do so can dodge right out of the way of that. I also believe actually you can go straight up to down, but that's also very slow and kind of dubious if you're going to hit or not. And there we go, perfect Arios assist into a follow-up beam rifle shot there. Perfect. I guess technically not. I guess it is the beam rifle. I forget technically what those things are called. Is it the GN swords? GN swords 2, I think they're called. I'm gonna look this up. Yes, the GN swords 2. I always forget what those things are called, but I love them a lot. I'm a bigger fan of the GN Sword 1 and the GN Sword 3. I actually think the GN Sword 3 might be one of my favorite Mobile Suit weapons. I am a sucker for a cool blade that, like, extends out from the arm. I think it looks beautiful. And it's probably part of the reason I love the Double O's design so much, not gonna lie. Just cool. It's very, like, late 2000s anime edgy, but I think it's cool. It's basically just a gun blade now that I think about it. And yeah, your Sarah V assist. I know I've been highlighting the Arios assist a lot, but that Sarah V assist can do good work too. And as you saw with that melee combo here, like I've said, even when you're out of burst mode, your melee combos as a Double O can be kind of hard to get cut out of for the enemy. So just keep that in mind, that you can be a real pain in the ass. In ways that I feel like a lot of people don't expect, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people don't play this version of the Double O in particular. They're more likely to play Seven Sword. So I think a lot of people don't expect the base Double O to be as hard to cut as it can be. You know, people always expect that out of, like, Epion or Bale or the more dedicated melee suits, but Double O has a few tricks up its sleeve in terms of the melee combo game, so fun stuff indeed. I love that when the round ends and it does the little highlight zoom in, and it's just like a big blur of some sort of energy nonsense going on. This game can be so silly sometimes. Didn't even realize I've been playing with Mark the last few matches here, it seems like. I was actually just talking with Mark or whatever, because I referenced, like, oh yeah, I started to get back into MBON again. He's like, it's been a while since I've played too, I should get back in on that, so... that'll be fun. I haven't played with Mark in a while in this game, so... hell yeah. Best part of ever playing any MBON match where a Turn A Gundam unit is present, the fact that I get to listen to Sentry Color, which is just objectively the greatest Gundam opening of all time. You can fight me in the comments if you would like to, but just, I love Sentry Color so much. The first Turn A Gundam opening is fantastic as well. Look at that Goku shit. Just love it. It's like the Rock Lee weights came right off. Though I did get my ass kicked there by X3, which is unfortunate. Always hate to get beaten by a child, though I guess Setsuna's not all that much older. Actually, I don't remember Setsuna's age. Is he... Hold on, let's look. Because I know some of them... Like, I think Domon's early 20s. I know some of the AU pilots are a little bit older than the UC ones. Oh yeah, he's 21 in Season 2. And I forgot how much of a gap there was between Season 1 and Season 2 of 00. I actually really need to rewatch 00. I have a very, like, mainstream opinion of that series, and considering how all of my other Gundam opinions have landed in recent years, I feel like I would have a vastly different read and overall take on 00 as a series if I watched it now with my current critical perspective. You know, I kind of have that very standard opinion of like, oh yeah, season 1's pretty solid, and then Season 2 gets a little wacky. Though even then, I will say there's still stuff from Season 2 I do remember quite fondly, but I was kind of like, yeah, this got weird and kind of fell off. But I bet nowadays I might have a more complicated opinion of it, considering I've had very drastic changes in my Gundam thoughts and opinions overall, and just understanding of the series and what they're doing thematically just in the last few years, so... Yeah. In particular, I don't think I've rewatched 00 ever since I got into UC in general, so that would be interesting for me to go back and do. I don't know if I've ever talked about how I feel like my Gundam experience kind of growing up kind of mimicked, you know, it was a weird coming-of-age thing, I felt like. Gundam has been this thing that's been with me ever since I was a kid, and I first caught G Gundam on Toonami, and I fell in love with it. Like I said earlier, I believe this episode, I didn't get into Wing until a little bit later when I was a little bit older and on the internet. To be fair, I was on the internet and doing things on the internet way too young than I should have been, but, you know, I got into piracy and all that shit and figured out how to, you know, get free anime and shit when I was fairly young, and I tracked down Wing and watched it a little bit after. I definitely remember, though, just realizing a few years back kind of my history with Gundam is I feel very appropriate, where it started with my interest in the cool robots and the action and the style of it all, and the combat with things like G and Wing that are a little bit sillier. And then as I got a little bit older and moodier, I got into the melodrama of stuff like Seed Destiny, and 00, though that being said, I've never been a fan of Seed or Seed Destiny. Honestly, I somewhat contribute Seed and Seed Destiny, or I blame Seed and Seed Destiny for contributing to my phase as a teenager where I was like, oh, I don't like anime anymore, this is stupid and for kids, just because I was not very fond of those shows. But, you know, I got into the melodramatic stuff that Gundam had to offer in the AUs when I was the right age for it, as like a moody teenager going through a lot of emotional baggage in my life or whatever, and then kind of getting older and kind of moving on when I was just a little bit more politically aware and interested in politics, kind of becoming a burgeoning Marxist in my own way, and then getting into Universal Century stuff around that time as I was realizing I had that interest in political theory and stuff like that. And, you know, obviously Universal Century is the place to go if you want, like, good political Gundam stuff. Along with, I would say, Aibo. Aibo is fraught in many ways, don't get me wrong, but I definitely feel like Iron-Blooded Orphans has more interesting things to say about the concept of revolution and the sacrifices involved than a lot of people give it credit for. Again, I am sorry if I've told these stories before in this series, or if I'm sounding like a broken record. I have a lot of Gundam opinions, and I can never remember where I have said them out loud, or which ones I have said out loud, and if so, which mediums I've done it through. So maybe a little bit of repeat with the storytelling, but yeah, it's just weird to me how Gundam has always been this thing I grew up with in a fun way. And that was a very fun point-and-blank super there, going back to talking about the gameplay for a little bit. Yeah, it was just cool going from the childish stuff to the teenager stuff to like the more like, oh, this has a little bit more depth. You know, don't get me wrong, the Universal Century stuff, there's still shows made for children to sell merchandise, but like there's a little bit more thematic meat there for people to grow up, or for people who are grown up to enjoy. So I wouldn't exchange my Gundam experience for anything. I feel like it was very appropriate for where I was at the different stages of my life. Got one more game here to finish out the 00 Gundam episode. Let's see what we got going here. Pretty happy with the team comp we have so far. See, I'm learning. I was like, I'm just going to activate 00 Riser mode right away, because I know that we're going to rush in. I was probably intimidated by the fact that there's a Shining Gundam on the enemy team, which can mean many things. It can mean, oh, this person, I'm just going to play keep away and get away with it, or, oh god, this person knows what they're doing. Shining Gundams can be wild cards. They can be scary. They're not really that scary in their base form, but when they activate that super mode, ooh, better stay the fuck away. Me and my partner ganged up on that. Yeah, I don't think the Shining knows what they're doing. That's okay. We all started somewhere. To be fair, I don't know what I'm doing with Shining Gundam half the time either. And it looks like the Shining isn't activating their super mode or nothing. So there we go. Cleaned out the round. Bursted just to get a bigger laser pew-pew shot off and close out the round there. Didn't even use my super or anything fancy like that. But yeah, whew, it was fun recording Newtype Netplay again. I should do this more often. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you have a good night. See ya, everyone.